If you're a Sopranos fan, Tony Soprano also drove a GMT400 Suburban. Those are some of the best heated seats I've ever felt. I think it was like almost $20,000 in options on this in 1997 when this would have been bought. Hey everyone, and welcome back to DC Motorwerks. My name is Cameron. If it's your first time tuned in with us, we greatly appreciate it. But today in front of us, I've got a 1998 Suburban, the esteemed GMT400 series or platform, whichever you want to call it. This one is an extra special Suburban because this is a 2500 or 3/4 ton Suburban. So yes, in very limited numbers, more commonly back in this era that GM, Chevrolet, whichever you want to call it, did a 3/4 ton version of their Suburban, and you can immediately tell by the 8-lug wheels on this model. But they also got different engine options, notably the diesel back in the day, the 6.5 Detroit diesel, which wasn't very loved, kind of underpowered, but this was kind of the one to have. This is the big block 454, 7.4 liter monster, but this is a GMC spec model. And what also makes this one extra special is that it is a SLT, so it is a high trim level with actually lots of options. I've got a reproduction window sticker that we'll run through here in a little bit. One of the best color combinations I think in this time period. Actually, as a kid, we had a half-ton Suburban in this color scheme, which is just the solid black with the neutral taupe interior. I think that GM just called it neutral back in the day. Great spec nonetheless. It's just with the straight body panels of these old Suburbans and stuff, I just think the black looks really, really good. And this one is nicely polished up and in good shape. And someone actually put some later style wheels on this one, so normally they'd have a little bit different wheel, but this is a very nice and welcome upgrade. And I really like as well the BF Goodrich commercial all seasons. Just seems proper for something like this. So and that is a Michelin built tire, being a BF Goodrich. If you didn't know that, a little bit of tidbit of information for you there. These were really an icon of the 90s. If you're a Sopranos fan, Tony Soprano also drove a GMT400 Suburban through a number of the series of seasons in that show. Used in lots of like bad guy movies and things like that, especially in this black. And with just having said the the iconic kind of flat side of these trucks and Suburbans and Tahoes and so forth of this era, you can't hide any dent or anything along the side. But this one is very straight. I see just there's one little small ding right there behind the rear door. So nothing too crazy to write home about. And the business end, one of the best parts again of this series of Suburbans is you get the iconic barn doors, ambulance doors, whatever you want to call them. They have many a different name, paddy wagon doors. And this one still has its keyless entry remote. You can see what we mean by the iconic doors there. And just look at all that space. So that is with the third row in place. This was just a different time period, and when safety stuff was not quite as prevalent as it is today. So you got thinner pillars, bigger glass, and just a hark from the past. Back in the day when you've got your spare tire mounted inside the vehicle, and there you can see the old steel wheel style that this probably came with, even with it being an SLT model. Surprising just how clean it is back here, especially back in the 90s. This GM carpet wasn't the greatest of quality, but in these it's got its mats and so forth, and not real stained or torn up or anything, as most of these were used for serious work. So to see one that's actually really well kept is pretty rare. And this one is under 100,000 miles. Again, just a nice, massive black canvas to look at there. And it does have the nice Lund period steps on the side there, which I actually think really good, as they kind of mold into the body rather than just sticking out from underneath. And there you can see your nice SLT badge. But we'll go ahead and pop the hood and get it to start up and see how she sounds. So we did the startup just a moment ago before we moved it into this position to make sure it was a true cold start. But under here is the monster Vortec 7.4 or 454 big block V8. And this is the kind of latest iteration of the 454, being in the 98 and 99 models, also known as the Vortec model. So this is when you got the port fuel injection instead of the old toilet bowl and that sort of thing of the older style V8s. So this harkens back to a very old architecture, but a very proven architecture at that. And very just nice and tidy in here. We got a brand new battery in there, a fresh service, and that's kind of one of the benefits of these is they don't really need a whole lot. They are pretty reliable vehicles. But let's go ahead and jump in. We'll check out the interior. So there we have the neutral leather interior, and this one is extra doctored up because it has the full power seats with all the different adjustments and also 2-stage heated seats. And man, I wish I could show y'all that in person because those are some of the best heated seats I've ever felt in my years of messing with cars. As soon as you hit the switch, you can feel them starting to get hot and they get very, very toasty. But these are in great shape. You can see the nice kind of ruched leather, very common of the 90s. And these seats were just again, a harken to yesteryear because they are cushy and soft. No kind of, any kind of sportiness was a thought process. Just long over the road comfort with hauling everyone with you. But these are in great shape. There was just a little bit of wear on the color from getting in and out, and we had that all redone. Just had it recolored and so forth, reconditioned. And kind of same in the back. Everything is in really nice shape. Just love it. You can just see how nice and cushy these seats are when you just look at the style of them. And then you got your third row hiding out back there as well. So all the space. And even in the third row, everyone has plenty of space. And it is nice to see that at least one cargo net is kind of surviving. It's been tied up. These are always kind of loose. But overall, this interior has held up very well over its almost 30 years and 99,000 and some miles. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump in and we'll go for a ride. Safety first, we got our seatbelt on. We can go for a ride. And we'll note a couple things before we drive off. This one is the latest update. So the 98 and 99 were the final years of this GMT400 series. And I actually like these the most because of the steering wheel. Because on the 97s, they had this really big, awkward airbag setup. But in 98, they went to this smaller one, which looks really nice. And you can see all the graining and everything. It's not worn smooth. You can tell that this one is a proper 99,367 miles. These were known to have very terrible dashes, and this one's had a dash cap put on it, which actually looks pretty good. Good to see that there. You know, there's not just holes falling out of it and that sort of thing like a third gen Ram tends to do. And one final thing we did in this interior was it had an aftermarket radio, but we put in a factory radio and added a Bluetooth module to it. So that's what this is. So if you want your Bluetooth, you'll just push this button and that will mute the radio and everything and hook up to your phone. And this one also does have the upgraded sound system. So I'll have a cameraman flash up all the options on this vehicle because it is a plenty. I think it was like almost $20,000 in options on this in 1997 when this would have been bought, which is pretty wild to think about because the base price on this I think was like 28 or 29,000. So they bought like 3/4 of a Suburban in options on their Suburban. You can have a look at just the massive expanse that is the interior of this Suburban. The nice thin pillars and doors with big glass. The visibility is wonderful. And just see there, everything is in really nice shape, headliner and everything. It is very hard to find these old Suburbans in this condition because they were used for work, just that, because they can tow, I forget what the tow rating is, 14,000 pounds, something like that, but it is quite a lot, while hauling everything in here as well. So the diesels were known for the fuel economy. I think they could get in like the mid-20s mile per gallon, even with four-wheel drive, which you can see this one is equipped with here. And this is the good transfer case, as I call it, because you get it with the auto four-wheel drive as well as locked four-wheel drive, so you can use it on dry pavement. This one, you came with the Monster 454, which back in 97, 98, when this was new, fuel economy was not a concern, because I think it was like a little over $1 or $1.99 a gallon at the time. But plenty of torque. And this does have the upgraded 4L, I think it's 85 transmission. You have to forgive me if I get it right. It's 80 or 85, but the heavy duty 4-speed automatic with the lockup and overdrive. So it still has a pretty nice final drive on it that you're turning around 2,000 RPM at 60, a little less. So engine is not screaming going down the highway, because this one just has plenty of torque to lug you along. Probably the biggest thing that amazed me about this when we got it, after not being in one for a number of years, was just how quiet it is. Like, here we are doing almost 70 miles an hour, and it is quieter than some modern luxury cars. And it is super smooth, even being a 3/4 ton truck. And thankfully this one, the steering box is still nice and tight. Some of these get real loose, but the steering response on this one is really good for an old steering system like this. Even on this one, all the gauge cluster stuff works, which if you're familiar with 90s GM products, they were notoriously kind of crazy. But, the fuel gauge, when you first turn the key on, will kind of wiggle about, but then it settles in on where it's supposed to be, so that's good to see. And all of our other gauges are showing just fine. You know, got great oil pressure, and battery voltage right at 14, and coolant temperature right at thermostat, which is about 195 degrees. Here we can test out our turning radius, which is actually shockingly good for something of this size. Let's go ahead and try out that 454. And we're up to 60 without a fuss, and it just keeps climbing. 454 moves that speedo needle pretty strong. Not quite like if you've ever seen from this era was it the Lingenfelter Suburban with the 9.9 liter V8 from a marine application, which is pretty wild. It had like 500 horsepower. I think these were 290 if I remember right, with like 450 pound-feet of torque, which was the important number. Here you see, just nice and smooth, go straight down the road. Very happy truck, and something that will last many years to come. Just a nice, simple, old big block Chevrolet GMC. But we'll go ahead and roll back to the shop and show you the four-wheel drive. All right, so here we are currently in two-wheel drive. I'll go ahead and show you. We're just spinning the rear wheels there. I'll bump it into neutral. Hit 4 high, it blinks for 2 seconds. And we are in four-wheel drive high. Let's go ahead and do the same there. Nice stomp with the pedal. And then we take off with all 4 wheels. And then last would be our low range, which we'll start that from back there. Like I said earlier, you can also use this in auto four-wheel drive mode if you don't want to have to worry about engaging it. And there's our 4 low. There you can see we are leaping forward, and we are in low range. Then just one more click over to two-wheel drive, and we are back to normal. So there it is, my 1998 GMT400 Suburban 3/4 ton 454. I say kind of the best, I think, of the Suburban run. While I love the 800 series that came later, nothing beats the iconic shape of the 400 series, and really just the simple reliability and great powertrain and everything that is so notoriously great about these, and then why they have become kind of collectible in that regard. But this one is currently live, no reserve on Bring a Trailer, so it is going to its new owner at the end of the auction. So remember to bid early, bid often, make sure you don't miss it. We've had a lot of people say, oh, I tried to get that last bid and I ran out of time. But you don't want to miss this one because there's not many of them like this out there. But if you like what you see, remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. You won't miss what we have coming up next here at DC. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.